So I'm now 11 weeks pregnant. Oh, so close to the end of that first trimester. I'm really happy to say that over the past week I haven't experienced any bleeding or any particularly worrying symptoms. The only thing that has made me feel a little bit nervous is headaches. And this is only because on my last miscarriage, or was it my first? It was my first miscarriage. I remember on the day before my bleeding started and the miscarriage began, I had a headache all day, and I'm not one to normally get headaches at all. And I hadn't experienced headaches as far as I can remember during my pregnancy with Jacob, so I remember it being a very specific and unusual symptom, which then obviously led to a miscarriage. And so this week I've actually got a headache at the moment, but I've had headaches a couple of times. And actually the other day it was so bad that I had to take paracetamol. And obviously you don't really want to be taking tablets generally, but particularly when you're pregnant you don't want to take anything. Paracetamol is fine to take. It's ibuprofen you shouldn't take when you're pregnant. So I've been having headaches, but that is generally a normal pregnancy symptom. So perhaps everything's fine. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure I'm just worrying over nothing. I'm still up and down with my symptoms. There was a couple of days at the beginning of the week where I woke up feeling full of energy and not having any sickness and eating things that I was previously not able to eat, drinking cups of tea, which up to the 11-week mark, I couldn't even stomach the thought of tea, never mind trying to drink one. So I felt like things were easing off, which is partly a relief, but also partly a worry, because those symptoms remind you that the hormone levels are high and that everything's going well. And so it's this kind of double-edged sword. You're excited that you're feeling good again, but then really worried that things aren't going right. But on the flip side of those good days, I was having some horrendous days. I think I've had some of the worst days of my pregnancy so far in terms of negative symptoms. I find my symptoms are worse in the evenings than in the mornings. I wake up feeling generally okay. I can get up and have breakfast without even a second thought. But when we come to around 7 o'clock at night, once I put Jacob to bed, I feel equally starving hungry, despite having dinner. We have dinner around 5 o'clock. I feel starving, ravenous, but at the same time absolutely repulsed by the thought of any food, and just feeling horrendously sick, like I'm gonna throw up, and I'm getting this burning sensation in my stomach. I feel like my stomach is on fire with acid. So yeah, it's this real up and down, like I just don't know where I'm at. And so yeah, I think everything's okay with the pregnancy, going by some of the terrible days that I've had this week. I am obviously closing into the end of the first trimester, so hopefully everything is okay and these symptoms will start to die down a little bit. Any other symptoms that I've been experiencing? My skin last week, I forgot to mention in the last week's update, my skin last week was pretty bad. My back covered in spots. I was getting a lot of spots around my chin and on my cheeks and things. I generally have relatively clear skin. I'm quite lucky in that respect. So I do really notice when there's some sort of change. It's usually based around my period or being pregnant. So it seems to be a hormonal thing that really sets me off. And so last week was quite bad. Continued to have a few difficulties with my skin this week, but my back is clearing up and I've been really itchy around like my torso. I think that's because of stretching skin maybe, or maybe because my body's using a lot more fluid. Maybe I'm just drying out a little bit. I'm dehydrated slightly. I notice through the night I drink so much water. I wake up, every time I wake up it's like I haven't drunk all day. I'm just like I go to bed with a pint of water, and sometimes that's not enough. So yeah, my skin is slowly clearing up. My symptoms are all over the place. Still urinating 1,000 times a night. The headaches obviously slightly concerning, but apparently a normal symptom in pregnancy. And I think that's pretty much it. I'll show you my bump in a minute. I'll try and do it properly so that I'm not kind of crouching to show you my bump, but I've definitely popped. When I read all these pregnancy blogs and what to expect and things, it says by 11 weeks you should start to show. I've been showing for weeks, and yeah, I've been wearing maternity pants all week. I can't really fit into my normal clothes anymore. My boobs are quite sore and definitely filling out, so I've started using the creams and stuff to make sure that I do my best to avoid any stretch marks and to help the skin to expand. The biggest thing that's happened this week is that I have been able to move my scan appointment. So my first end of first trimester scan, the one that you have normally, which is normally around 12 weeks, was actually booked for me to happen just before hitting 14 weeks, which is annoying that I have to wait so long to know that I've reached the end of the first trimester safely. But also it's kind of on the cusp when it comes to testing. So when you have your tests, the test to make sure baby's all well and developing properly, it needs to happen before, I think the cutoff is 13 weeks and 5 days. And so it puts me right on the edge of that cutoff. So when I spoke to my midwife, she was able to bring it back a few days. And then I phoned them again today and said, look, has there been any cancellations? Can you get me in on week 12 instead of in week 13? And they have been able to. So a week today, I get to go to the hospital. It is at the main hospital, which makes me a bit nervous because of the whole coronavirus issue. I know that they are treating coronavirus patients at my hospital, so not ideal. But I'm sure that they're keeping the maternity section, separate and safe, hopefully. I'll just go in with my mask and gloves and stuff. And so that's a week today, which is great. It gives me something to look forward to. My camera just shut down. Don't know why that was. But yeah, the point is it's very exciting. Just a week to wait, and then I'll be able to finally relax and know that I've gotten over that really difficult first trimester hurdle and start to get excited about this pregnancy. Okay, so that's my update. Those are my symptoms for this week. If you're also in your first trimester, let me know how you're getting on, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you some really exciting news and some pictures of baby next week. Right, let me show you my bump. Here's my tummy. Definitely nice and round. Little baby.